Hello everyone and welcome to another lesson. I'm extremely happy to have you here with me today. We have a very special lesson today. I will be going over the LoopOver node in um, in n8n. It's a very interesting node because this kind of node it doesn't exist in Make. So it takes a little bit to get your head wrapped around it, but it's extremely powerful. I use it in a lot of my workflows. So before I start, I just like to point your attention to my store. Here you will find all of the workflows that I do. Currently it's 9 plus workflows in here that you can use, you can sell, you can do whatever you want with. It's a very discounted price right now. I also have my n8n for beginners course if you want to get a refresher, or if you're just starting out. This is a great way to start out as I go over the basics which are essential to build your future automations. Okay, I'll put the links in the description below. So without further ado, let's jump right ahead. So I'm in n8n right now. I'm gonna click create workflow in the top right button. So we'll start with the first node, which usually is a trigger. Let's go ahead and do the manual trigger. I am going to first get some data. It's very important to get data first. So I'm gonna go over Google Sheets and I'm gonna get rows. So I'm gonna get the rows from this contacts database, which is basically a Google Sheet. I'm gonna copy the ID here and I'm gonna place it here in the ID section. Then I'm gonna choose the sheet and I'm gonna test. So this will get me all of the basically the table that I had. Okay, now that I have these here, one thing I can do is I can pin them so I don't have to request again. Now I have these data which are 7 items. Now imagine a scenario where you want to take each row and do a series of actions on it. How would you do that? Now if you go linear and start adding nodes here, you will not be doing multiple things per row. Okay, so what we want is to have a series of action getting made on each and every one of those rows. And to do that, we'll go over the loop. So if we say loop here, and you can see loop over items, split in batches, split data in batches, and iterate over each batch. So each batch here is a row. If you have 7 items here, each item is a batch, and then we can iterate on them and work on them. Okay, so if I click on this, you can see it created 2 nodes, and it has all these things that are confusing, okay, at first, but it's very easy, trust me. So there is this loop over item. Now if we double click on it, it only has a 1, so the number of items to return with each call, so it only has 1. Okay, so this is saying that I want to take 1 from these 7 items and I want to process them. And this here says replace me. Basically this is a dummy node. Okay, so and here it has loop and it has done. So what this means and this goes back, so what this means is the first row goes in, it then goes into this path, it loops, right, it goes in and it loops over here, and once it's done it goes to this done thing. Okay, so let us create like a simple node. We can do, for example, an edit data transformation, for example. Let's for example, we can create a new let's do a variable here, and then we'll grab whatever. So let's delete this since we don't need it. Okay, so the first item comes in and it goes through here and we can let's see, execute previous nodes. So there we go. So the first, I see 7 items, and then we have first item. So the first item, let's for example take this. Let's do an if node first. Let's do an if node just as an example. Okay, so we now have if. Okay, so this goes over here, and so if what we want to say, if it's false, go back, right? So if it's false, go back, and if it's true, proceed to the other to another one. Okay. Let's see, another filter. I'm gonna add another node here. Okay, good. Can delete this. So we're looping over. The first item comes in, it goes here. If it's false, it goes back. It goes back to the second item, and if it's true, it goes to here. Okay. And what we want to check here, we want to check if the email. I want to check, for example, if the email contains Gmail. Okay. So if we run this, this will run 7 times. Let's test. Bam. Okay. So what happened is, it's true, so it went to here. Is this that? Let's see, now we have a batches of 2, so if it's true, let's do this. Okay, so 7 items done. So as you can see here, the two items are true and 5 items are false. But I want that if it's true to proceed to here, to the second step. Okay. Okay, so we have, so if it's false, go back, and if it's true, let's go to here. So this means that if we test the workflow now, what we get is we get 2 items only processed here and 5 items are false. Okay, this is exactly what we want. So in these 2 items that are true, we can do something like we can add to them. We can add them in a certain data set. We can do whatever we want to them. For example, we can take the so we can take the email dot, for example, replace all. We can remove the ad. With nothing, so that removes the ad. But then we can actually we can extract based on the split. We can split based on the ad, so that gives us what we want, I think. So yes, add, then we can choose the first one. Okay. Now we can do this, and this extracts the domain. Okay, and then we can say this is domain. Now if we test this, Then let's see the result here. So the first one, so here we're saying if we want the domains that are not, we can just say does not contain. Let's try does not contain. Perfect. Now we have 5. So domain test.com, lady.com, derek.com. Perfect. So now what we did is we said if it does not contain Gmail, right? And we can say or does not contain Hotmail as well. Okay. Then it's probably a so this is Gmail, so this did not go through. So I think it should be and, because both conditions need to be true. Okay, that now it works. So be careful of the and the or. So now we've made this, and what this does is it loops over each and every item and checks if the item has certain keywords or not. If it does, it takes it to the next step. If it doesn't, then it's false. Now be careful of these loops. So a loop always needs to get back, right? Always needs to get back, because if you don't put this back, then the loop will just cancel out, will close, and you will not go over each and every item. So always make sure that the loop goes back and you're actually looping. So the action is looping. Looping is just going over, like iterating. Like in make.com, you have iterators that go over each and every one. Here we have the loop over items, which just go over a certain item. Now, what we can do now is we can create as many things as we want here. We can create another if, we can add things. So and we're doing that to each and every item. See how powerful the let's rename this to domains. Just how powerful the loop over items is. Okay, I use this very often in my workflows. Okay, so to recap, the loop over items, when you have a stream of data coming and it consists of several items, and when you want to iterate over each item and you want to do a series of action over each item, whether it's checking for something, whether it's conditional, whether it's adding things to it, you always need to do a loop over items node. Then you have the capacity to do whatever you want. Always make sure that you close the loop. If you keep the loop open, then it just flies over and it doesn't go over each and every item. You always want to close the loop. And if you put an if, the false and the true needs to be closed as well. Okay? I hope this lesson was beneficial to you guys. If you did like it, please give it a like. Subscribe for more videos. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.